13 years ago, on a short bus in a small town in Washington, two idiots met. A bunch of stupid stuff happened. We want you to listen to those stupid stories.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is your host, Brock Terrano. Quick trigger warning. This is going to be our first serious episode that we've done so far. We're going to be touching on a topic that's super sensitive with a lot of people, but what we aspire to do here on Living with Humor is to help people get through their shit. So, that being said, we're going to be talking about the big sad, and hope this helps some people out there.
Yeah, and we're talking about everyone's least favorite word, starting with D. Depression.
Yeah, that's not a fun word. But no, we've all struggled with it. It's good to know that, we're not alone in our struggle. So that's the whole point of this episode. You're not alone. You can get through it. And why don't you take it away, Brent?
Yeah, man, before we get into my stories, remember, seeking help is not a sign of weakness. Seeking help is a sign of knowing that you deserve better. And
Absolutely.
not be alone.
Absolutely.
And it's very, very good for everyone to just go and get help and get rid of the toxic stigma that getting help is bad. I mean, I don't remember people moving stuff from house to house and being like, you know what, getting help is a terrible idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Do something for your mental health. But we've all had people in our lives who have either struggled with depression or are currently struggling with depression. And everyone at some point in time deals with something that it tests your mettle, sees really what you're made of, and you can go through spurts that are more severe than others because each and everyone struggles with depression on a significantly different scale. Who am I to be the judge of or cast a stone at what someone else is going through? So me and Brock will be sharing our stories because we're not going to have someone come on and just talk about their stuff and put things in a weird perspective. And that's the only way you see them into that light. Yeah. You've seen me and Brock goof around hundreds of thousands of times probably by now. So you know that we like to keep things in the proper perspective, trying to live with humor.
Exactly.
And to live with humor, you usually sometimes have to go through a couple traumatic events to get to where you're comfortable in sharing something very, very vulnerable with people and just letting it resonate the way you hope it goes. Because, I mean, you can't tell people how to feel, how to think, or any of that stuff. But
exactly.
For me, my traumatic event happened back in the summer between my 8th grade year and my freshman year of high school. I had a friend whose name, for obvious reasons, I will not be mentioning. I was very, very close to this individual, and that was my best friend at the time. Like before Brock, this was the person that I always relied upon, and just like Brock was an older individual than I was, and was a very, very good human being in my eyes. This individual struggled with certain substances and struggled with certain terrible parents for an outside perspective. I wasn't privy to the insider life information, but this particular individual had a very, very poor emotional support system, relied upon substances to cure things that I believe with the proper help, which as Living with Humor host, I'd be more than happy to provide any and all links to any kind of place that anyone wants to go and take a look at getting that professional help. This individual chose not to. And through a series of events that continually got worse and worse and worse, this certain individual unalived themselves for reasons. And losing your best friend is something I don't believe anyone should ever have to go through, let alone at a younger and more vulnerable and a very impressionable age in your life. And you always will wonder, probably, and I will at least for sure wonder probably till the end of my time on this planet, could I have done more for this individual? Could I have done this? Could I have done that? But ultimately, I just have to seek comfort in the fact I did everything that I knew I could do at the time, because Brock knows this, and most people do know this. I'm one of those people, I can replay what if scenarios in my head probably till my dying breath, and you only make yourself miserable holding on to a past that you cannot change. So
yeah.
no,
that's very well put.
I struggled with that for a really, really long time. And Brock can ascertain this. Like when he first met me, I was a very, very introverted, dialed in, and very quiet individual because I spent a year in a very, very dark place trying to find coping mechanisms. And next thing you know, a 7-footer's foot kicked me upside the head. And then I became friends with Brock. So it was like, it was a weird series of events that as soon as times got tough, people just kept showing up in my life and then would help pull me through this. And you were one of those people to help pull me through one of my darker times. But I was just very, very impressionable at that time because, I mean, you know, the high school we were at, there was no support system for me there. They wanted to pretend like everyone was there and that religion was the answer, but it's not always the answer. And in the case that I was dealing with, religion couldn't have held a candle to what I needed at that particular point in time.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. And it's not only the religion aspect, but it's like how they went about it was so toxic.
It was a very impractical application of something that should be very, very easy to apply. And I think ultimately there was during a chapel where I was supposed to stand and I didn't have any friends and I wasn't with anybody. I was literally very much a loner. Like I was a kid people were worried about when you went to class. I was the one people thought was literally that on edge kid. That was me for a long, long period of time. And I refused to stand for a chapel. And the certain individual, one of the staff members, was like, "Hey, you need to stand up." I'm like, "No, I don't."
Yeah.
And then it just kept going back and forth. And then eventually they're like, "You need to stand or I'm going to send you to the principal's office." It's like, why would I stand for a God that would allow this to happen? And then they were like, you know, they had this whole seizure moment where you can see the circuits in their brain were just seizing up.
Yeah.
Literally grabbed me by the arm and then escorted me out of that chapel. And then they sent me to the school, like therapist that they had at the time.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "I believe you need help. I believe we all need help. I believe you're completely incapable of doing your job, though. I don't trust you for all the money in the world because the only thing you care about is my parents' money."
Yeah.
And then I almost got expelled from the school because of this.
Yeah.
Because I refused to take any of their things that they had to offer seriously.
Yeah.
And then, like, a week later, you showed up.
Yeah, and then I came
the rest
in like
was history.
Stitch.
And the corruption began.
Yes.
And then life got good for a while. Through a series of events, I ended up leaving the state of Washington, went to Georgia, went to California, where I'm currently residing. And ultimately, I had gotten married during this time of my life and ultimately ended up divorcing. And now looking back, it's significantly for the better for both parties and for my youngest, who's, you know, not going to be dispersed in any manner. I feel like co-parenting is significantly better for my particular situation, to each their own. But I feel like splitting up is a much more amicable solution than having a child grow up in this world dealing with two parents who constantly were at each other's throats and were not behaving in a manner in which is healthy for a child.
Right.
But either way, after dealing with the circumstances that transpired throughout this relationship, and I'm not going to get into details because I'm one of those people who's just, if it happened in the past, why am I going to hold on to this regardless of what it was? I don't want to drag somebody through something. Like, they made their choice. Things happened. All I can do is move forward in a positive perspective. Let's just say I felt I was wronged.
Yeah.
I felt I was betrayed. I felt very, very alone.
Yeah.
And during this time period, as I alluded to on one of our other episodes, where I said I wasn't in like in a good mental state for about 2.5 years, I went and sought a therapist help.
Yeah.
After about a year and a half, because there were little moments, little glimpses where I was snapping at things I shouldn't have. I was being short with situations I shouldn't have. I was getting emotional over things that were just everyday occurrences. And I was like,
Right.
this, if you know me, this isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. It's like, Brock's been around me for 13 years, and he knows I'm usually pretty quick to get irritated, but I was like a whole nother level to just get pissed off. It went from just like, I'm kind of irritated with this. I'll make a snide comment and move on. I was just hitting the peak every single time. And I was like, this is not conducive to who I am. I can't be a parent if I'm not in this right state of mind. And some people can fight through it, and more hats off to them for that, but I knew I wasn't. So I went and sought a therapist's help, and over time I've gradually gotten significantly better. I spent, I want to say, 6 months to a year, just once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on how tough the week was, seeking actual help, and talk to this professional. And that professional helped me significantly. And I can't say enough good things about therapy and what it did for me, because I was in a brand new state. I had no family out here other than my daughter, who was much too little to be a support system, let alone try and put stuff on her, to weigh on her. I mean, I feel like that would be cruel of me to do so. And the particular field of work I was in was very cutthroat. There are very few true friends. I don't honestly feel that I made any true friends from that particular place of employment. I feel like everyone there saw me as a means to an end, because I was willing to do certain things that other people just weren't. And it just wasn't the best place for me. And as I was moving throughout, from state to state, Brock can attest to this.
Oh, yeah.
As time went on, I became very, very disassociative. I would see texts, ignore them. Seeing phone calls, ignore them. I was isolating myself from everyone and everything, because I didn't want to go through what I'd just gone through, where I had lost someone that I potentially saw like my future with. And even though in hindsight, I knew this person wasn't the right person for me, but because of the extraneous series of circumstances that I ended up becoming with this individual. At that time in my mind, I tricked myself into believing that this was my future and who I was going to be. But luckily now, with hindsight, I realized it was just, I was trying to step up to do something and become someone who I wasn't meant to be. That wasn't my calling, and that's not who I should have been. And I pushed away a lot of people. So I lost my support system, and I lost my way for a while. But ultimately, I fought my inner demons, and I was able to pull through. Some days are still tougher than others, but for the most part now, I have such a much more solid base, and I have no problem reaching out to people like, hey man, today's just a day. I'm struggling. I'm gonna take a personal day and just be done with it. And I feel like that's something in society that needs a lot more to be accepted, that people just need to be like, yeah, I'm having a tough day. It's like, at least be willing to admit when there is a problem, and go seek the help that everyone needs. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. You realize there was a problem, and you went out to fix that problem. There's a very toxic stigma about therapy, and I feel like it just needs to go. Your mental health is the most important thing you have. Once you lose it, there's nothing you can do to get it back, for the most part, other than therapy. Because you will just be so far past gone. And that's not something I would wish upon anybody. You could say my absolute worst enemy. I would never wish for anybody to put themselves in a terrible circumstance where they sacrifice their mental health for any reason. It's like, I may not like certain individuals, but I'll never wish ill upon them, or go out of my way to do such things. So, long story short, I've had a long couple years of dealing with it, because it's from freshman year of high school till now. I'm just mentioning basically the big stuff, the catalyst, those moments in time you can remember where it's like, things are tough, but I came through, and so can you. And that's what needs to be driven home to each and every individual who've taken the time to listen to Living with Humor on whatever service they have or anything on YouTube. This is probably the most real. Me and Brock may be with you other than our other serious episodes, but this is the first time you see us actually talking to you, the listener, directly and saying, hey, you're tougher than you think you are. You're stronger than you think you are. You can get through this, and there are people there who can help you get to where you want to be. So that's me. That's what I went through, and I hope something of it can resonate or just click with you a little bit, and hopefully it helps you to do what you believe is best for you and your own interests. Find that support system. That's all I can really say. I've rambled on now for a good 10 minutes.
Well, no, and thank you for sharing, Brent, number one. But no, and you're spot on. Like, there's nothing wrong with seeking help. That's definitely something I need to work on. I definitely internalize a lot. And I think that's one of the biggest traps that not only myself, but some individuals fall into when it comes to their mental health is that I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but for me, for the longest time, mom was like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to dump my shit on other people. They got their own shit to worry about. But again, whether it's a mental health professional, that's their job, and that's what they're there for. So it's definitely seek help if you need it, if you feel like you're struggling. And I can't remember where I was going with that, but
I feel like you were going in the direction of don't isolate yourself.
Right.
I know
exactly.
I personally did. I know at times you've said you have, and then later talked to me about it.
Yeah.
So we at least reached a point in that comfortability. It's like, and this is one thing I don't get about men. We are the first to isolate, in my experience. And for some reason, there's such a stigma about reaching out to another dude, be like, hey, Brock, I'm struggling with this. Can you talk me through it? That's it. That's all the text message is. It's 2 sentences, but for the male sex pertaining to me, for the longest time, it was one of the hardest things to do. And I feel like since I got professional help, because I needed it, I was a toxic individual to be around for a while, that now I'm very comfortable with saying, I need help. Please help me. It's like, I will be there for you unequivocally as well. Just reach out. No one is going to be upset at the hour in which you reach out to them. People will be only upset if they don't handle it correctly. Like, dude, it's like 2 a.m. What are you doing? Why are you blowing me up at this hour? I'd rather receive the text than receive the call.
Yeah. And 100%.
That's my perspective on it anyway.
No, and you're spot on too, because like we all have somebody in our life, if not multiple people, that will drop everything they're doing to make sure you're okay. And I know I've done that for people. I've had, people that people do that for me. And I mean, shit, I won't go into detail, but that story I told you when I think it was your senior retreat or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I feel like that is probably one of the most real times we've ever been with each other at that point in time. And I feel like the listeners would gain a lot from it. But again, that's a story that's entirely within your own power to share, because it's one of those topics that I will never egg you on into discussing.
Right. So hopefully I'll share, because like I said, the whole point of this episode is to help some people, and we'll definitely throw in the links. But like when we were younger, I was definitely not a happy kid in the slightest. Heavily bullied. And home life wasn't the greatest. So obviously I wasn't in the greatest mental state for a long time. Super angry. Got into drinking and started drinking way too much at that young of age, and just to cope. And then kind of hit that point where I was like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. And then that's when you noticed that something was off. And I think this was like 2 years. So yeah, it was like when we first started becoming friends, when that happened, because I didn't tell you until like 2 years later.
And to this day, I still have no idea what compelled me to message you. It just felt natural. I was like, I was just playing video games like I normally was. We weren't hanging out at that point in time for some reason. I think it was like one of our natural pauses where like, yeah, we've hung out together like 6 or 7 days. Like, we need this one day for ourselves. And then I just felt like I needed to text you for some reason and be like 100% real with you. And you can share the rest.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you did, because I was definitely, I know we got the guidelines we got to follow, but I was definitely about to collect the check, so to speak. And again, always reach out, because that's what it, even if you feel like you know somebody that is struggling, it's definitely reach out, be like, hey, you doing all right? Or, invite them to a cup of coffee, as cliche as it sounds. Like, you never really know the impact you have on somebody until A, they tell you, or B, it's too late.
And they're no longer with you.
Yeah.
You can't do anything to rectify that time that you've lost. Because I've received the call.
Yeah.
There's no tougher call. At least in
my I can't even imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
Because to put some things in perspective, the senior retreat, like your friends and family can write you a letter, at least at this school, and they will tell you like they're proud of you, what they want to talk about. And during this note, there's a lot of light, happy-go-lucky, and I had a pretty decent stack of letters, shockingly enough.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I was not a popular kid in high school, nor will I ever pretend to be. I was a loser in my mind, and at that school, and that school was like, there were 40 kids in my graduating class, so to be a loser in a crowd that small was like, not good, but it was what it was.
Oh no,
it was
trust me, I know.
And then I go through all the letters, and I got one from Brock. I'm like, oh great, he's gonna be just telling all these jokes. He's gonna be off.
What the fuck does this guy have to say?
He's gonna be off the wall. He's gonna make some weird inside jokes, because we had hundreds back then. We were spending almost every day together, so it's like we could communicate with each other without anyone understanding what we're saying. We were probably all kinds of.
We would just grunt and make sounds, and we'd be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Like, oh, okay, you want me to go do that? Yeah, cool. I'll handle this. And they'd be like, all right, whatever. And then Brock was probably the most serious I have ever read in a message, and that was some heavy stuff you were sharing. And I appreciate you for opening up and talking about these sorts of things, because I can't imagine sitting down and writing any of this stuff was easy, let alone with the knuckleheads that we were at that point in time, because you were, 2 years into your college stint? And
shit, yeah, you're right.
And I was about to graduate my senior year of high school, so it was like, we weren't exactly what you would call mature. We thought we had a lot of answers that we just flat out didn't, and I still have zero answers for what's going on. I'm just kind of winging this thing, and it's going okay thus far. But to see that you had the emotional maturity to write something of any kind of caliber like that was, it really shows how far you had grown and who you had become, and it's the person that you were in your moment of probably at your lowest, where you thought there wasn't any other alternative. Would have been incredibly proud of the person that you were when you were able to talk about it very, very openly. And again, like, even probably it's been 10 years since that point, at least.
Fuck yeah, it has been.
So for that, because my 10-year high school reunion thing is supposedly coming up. I'm not going to take any part of that. But
my class didn't even bother to put it on.
Your class hated each other for whatever reason.
We did. Yeah.
It's been 10 years since then, and I'm sure you could sit there and comfortably say you're incredibly proud. At least I know I can say I'm incredibly proud of the person you've become since then, because we fell out of touch for a while.
Yeah, because we were
always
both
one of those people is like, the minute one of us says, "Hey, I need you," cool. Do I need to bring a plane ticket, or do I need to bring a bat?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like,
no, and that's spot on too. Because even when we were younger and we had a couple stints where we didn't really communicate as all. Not that we had a falling out. We both just kind of got busy with you still in high school, and I was at community college, not going to class, but doing other things. But even back then, if we weren't talking, if either of us were like, "Hey, man, I need help with this or that," like 5 minutes later, we'd be knocking on each other's door. So
he is like, I would have walked all the way down to your house. It was like it wasn't all that far for those of you like, oh my god, he's willing to walk that far. It wasn't all that far.
It wasn't that far.
I still would have
like
walked
a mile.
I still would have walked incredibly far to just show up and be like, hey, yo, what's up? What do you need me for? What can I do? What can I help you with? It's like, do we just need to go play video games? Do we just need to go for a walk? Do we just need to go sit somewhere and do one of your favorite things was car therapy?
Car therapy. I fucking miss car therapy.
And for those of you that don't know, car therapy was super, super simple. Brock would get in his car. I would hop in the passenger seat, and we would just drive.
And bullshit about whatever was eating at us.
Sometimes it'd be 30 minutes. Sometimes it'd be 5 hours. We would just go. And we just would go all around Gig Harbor, having a good time, talking through our issues, dealing with things that otherwise any other person would have thought we were insane. But to us, it made sense. And there were a couple times where you had to do car therapy for me when I was with someone I was dating, and we just weren't getting along and acting like children. Just so you guys know, in relationships at that time, I was not very emotionally mature. Things are either my way or it was the highway, and it was very, very toxic, and it was very stupid. And I don't understand what compelled me to act and be like this. But I was an idiot. I'm still an idiot, but I like to think a little bit more of a refined pinkies up idiot.
Pinkies up idiot.
But car therapy was something that we did constantly, and it just worked for us. Because when car therapy didn't work, it was we would just go out and go do something stupid. We would go see the Minions movie, or we would just go get food somewhere and be like, let's go sit in the Burger King parking lot and talk. And then we just eat and just make stupid noises and make people would walk by and be middle of the night because it was right by the skate park. And we make up stupid backstories and allegories for everything that was going on with them.
Oh yeah. That was one of my favorite things we did, was just narrate what's going on around us.
There would be a guy who walks by in a suit and he's like, I am a gentleman who's coming home from business. And then he would just kind of look around and be like, someone farted. Absolutely terrible. The air is rife with trials and tribulations on my tough business day. And you'd be like, am I watching National Geographic? What the hell is going on? It just had that weird air of, we would talk about stupid things that no one else would.
Yeah.
We'd make up backstories for people would dress more inappropriately. Yeah. And then kids would just sit there and just dig through their nose and be like, this kid is digging for treasure. Young Indiana Jones is going to
Young Indiana Jones in the making.
It just we just did stuff like this because it was really entertaining for us. It's I feel there's only one car therapy session that didn't go well, and it's because we were seeking something that we should not have been at the time. Do you happen to remember which car therapy this was?
No,
I can mention who it was.
What?
Because I can mention who this was.
Yes, absolutely. I need to know.
Because during this car therapy, we ended up with a side quest. There were a particular set of girls who happened to want to get a particular set of things that we were able to procure. However, we, being the dipshits that we were, and so are to some, respect, got what was needed, met them at the place that they said to meet them at. And we, in our teenage minds, was like, yes, we got them something super difficult. They will owe us something. They will think we're super cool. Like they will think that we're very, very dapper gentlemen and be like, oh, I must give this man my number. And through a series of circumstances, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, hey, there you go. And then got nothing back and proceeded to listen to Breaking Benjamin's most depressing album in the history of life. And then literally as we pulled up to your house's garage, it started to rain. And we're just sitting there listening to Breaking Benjamin in the car, just sitting there, just in absolute silence. Just
God, rethinking our lives. Dipshits, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. And then Red Jumpsuit Apparatus came on with their terrible, terrible, depressing song that everyone knows.
Oh, I forgot about that band. You're more into them than I was.
It was that one song about you feel like a man when you push her around and something. For some reason, it resonated, and you're like, "We didn't do anything wrong."
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But no, it was yeah, that was pretty stupid. That one-time car therapy just didn't work.
Fucking idiots.
Here's the thing, guys. The trick to car therapy: never need anything when you're going through car therapy. Do not make a plan. Just get on your bikes and go. And if you're hungry, go eat. If you're not, go drive around. Just you never know what you need at that time until it shows up, and then you're like, oh, this worked out. It was like anytime we were just looking to get away and relax and enjoy ourselves, car therapy was. It would just be us and Steve and the open road. We got lost several times, but I mean, we got lost in Tacoma twice. We got lost in the Key Peninsula, I want to say like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Gig Harbor, luckily, not as much. We missed a turn here or there, but was what it was. And we didn't spend as much time at like GameStop as I thought we would have, considering like how much we were goofballs and knuckleheads at that point in time.
Yeah, the only time we went to GameStop was when I had a crush on the clerk.
I do not remember if she was attractive or not. I feel like I was so into gaming, I was just like,
blinders on. And then I had blinders on too, but just for different reasons.
He's like, she's working. She's trapped. She can't avoid me.
She has to talk to me.
And that's the one thing I always feel like super, super creepy. It's like people like, I know somebody works there. I'm going to see them while they're at work. It's like, you do realize they're just stuck in a situation where they have to deal with you, right? They can't avoid you if they wanted to. You're just like, oh. When you put it in that perspective, super weird.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it is what it is, man. It was what it was. Yeah. We were very, very young. You were a senior. I was a sophomore. I was like, what did we know? A whole lot of nothing, really.
We didn't know shit. But good takeaway from the car therapy stuff is when dealing with the big sad, like you have to know what your self-care is. That's really what it boils down to. Like that was definitely our self-care. One of the self-care routines we had.
I was gonna say it was definitely the more prominent one.
Yeah.
Because sometimes all I needed was just to be around a friend.
Yeah.
And we would just do stupid things, say stupid stuff, and just it worked.
Yeah. Well, even after you moved, I would still go on like these long ass drives, just to sort through my own shit. And I think there were a few times where I would just call you while I was driving.
There were a couple times where we'd talk for like an hour or so, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And be like, "I'm going through car therapy."
Car therapy.
I'm like, "All right, cool. What's up?" Even though I wasn't there, it was like I was still there enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just needed to talk to that one person or do that one thing. It's like, never be afraid to reach out to someone that you think is important in your life, and surround yourself with people who want to constantly uplift you and want you to be better than who you believe you are.
Yeah.
Because Brock always believed I was going to be someone.
Mhm.
I always believed Brock was going to be someone. And sometimes all you need is just that little push from someone or something. And it gets you over the edge and you become the person that you're intended to be. Brock has been funny. Brock has been funny my whole life.
Yeah.
He's talked about doing comedy his whole life. When he was struggling through his big sad moments,
Yeah.
Christopher Titus was there. That was the comedian that was like, he gave you the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
All you needed was some dipshit like myself to be like, all right, get up there.
Exactly.
Go do it. And then you went and did it. You've honed your craft. You've practiced your craft. You've put in the hours. You've put in the reps that we talked about with Joseph Rogers and Drew Lopez.
Yep.
You did it. You did the work. You've done the time. You've done the meticulous studying, the staring at the ceiling, the highs, the lows. You have done these things. And you became the person that you wanted to be for the most part.
Yeah.
I was like, there's still obviously some things that you have bigger goals and aspirations for.
Oh, absolutely. And that never changes either. Like you never cease to get better is how I think I want to put it. There's always room for growth and more opportunity, which is keeping that in the forefront of my mind has definitely helped me keep going when it's hard. There's always a goalpost you got to hit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because the one thing I will say is about our high school is that there was a certain headmaster who I very, very much respected. And yeah, I know our school had a headmaster, and people make jokes about that as they will. But this particular individual was very, very wise in my mind.
Yeah, he was.
He was the football coach my senior year of high school. And we just finished 2-a-days, I'm physically beaten up. Everyone's physically beaten up, on one knee. He's giving us the whole speech because, the whole team circles around the coach. Everyone gets on one knee and he's sharing some story. And the story he particularly shared with is like, look, every day you're either putting hay in the barn or you're losing. He's like, every day you're getting better or you're getting worse. You cannot remain the same every day. Life will go on with or without you.
Yeah.
Are you going to continually get better or are you going to make excuses and get worse? And I was like, that's putting things into a very, very good perspective for me. And then from that day onward, I was like, yep, I need to continue to get better, even if it's just one small thing a day. Set one small goal for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Set those plans with your friends on the week you feel like you can't get through. Set it at the end of the week.
Yeah.
It'll give you something to look forward to that'll push you through that week. Because sometimes you just need that one thing to look forward to, and it keeps you going.
Yeah.
And that is enough.
Yeah.
We at Living with Humor love and care about you.
Absolutely.
Even if you aren't liking the page, even if you don't subscribe to the page, even if you're here just to heckle us.
I mean, fuck the hecklers, but no, I'm kidding.
You lost the there. You couldn't hold seriousness for 1 second there.
Man, it's hard for me to know but
we want what's best for each and every one of you.
Yeah, no, we do.
Just like we'd hope that you want the same for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you don't like us, we still want you to be getting your needs properly satisfied for your own mental struggle.
Right. And and we definitely want the best for you. And main thing for me anyway is for you listeners to know that you're not alone out there. You got people who love you, people who want to see you succeed and get through whatever struggle you're going through. And there's always the light at the end of the tunnel. And again, we'll provide some links in the description to help you find that support and help that you need to, again, just get through whatever shit you're going through. Because I know this shit's not easy, but it's doable.
Yeah, some days are easier than others. Some days you need to rely upon your friend group just that little bit more. And you just keep on pushing.
Yeah,
remember to be the person that when you were a kid, you always dreamed you could be. Because you can easily be that person if you put in the time, the energy, the work effort, and you surround yourself with like-minded individuals who want what's best for you and you want what's best for them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if Brock didn't show up, I don't know where I would be. And like Ray is very much the same way. He didn't show up, I don't know where I would be. It's like, without you two, who knows what Brent Tomczak would be? I have no idea.
And likewise, like without you and Ray, who knows what I would have been, you know? It's very important identifying the people in your life that really do have your back and they're not just a yes man or a fake friend, and you know, knowing that they actually do have your best interests in mind. And I think with the three of us, that was true for all of us.
Because we bullied each other harder than any
friend group,
any friend group should, but also at the same time, it was always like, anytime one of us was willing to settle for mediocrity, one of the other two would always be like, how dare you do this? You deserve better than this. Why are you doing this? And it was always like, you can do this. We know you can do this. Just because we, you know, sometimes act foolishly and like kind of are rude to each other doesn't mean we're gonna let you just settle for mediocrity when you can be great. It's like, why would I want you to be a mediocre comedian? I want you to be one of the best comedians on this earth and comfortable with who you are in doing so. That's all I could hope for, is I want you to be the best person you can be. And we ironed out a lot of kinks for a lot of stuff that we had, because all three of us were fairly flawed and fairly struggling individuals at that time. I mean, I'm still very, very, very flawed. I can speak to myself personally. Like,
I am too. I am far from perfect. Believe it or not, but
wow, nice little excerpt on there. We've been serious so long, you're defaulting to your coping mechanism, which for those of you who know, coping mechanisms are perfectly healthy.
It's true. Like, it's good to have healthy coping mechanisms.
Sarcasm is my coping mechanism.
Oh, mine too. That's the whole point of this podcast, living with humor. Like, I can't speak for everybody, but I truly believe in my heart of hearts that humor is the best medicine. You know, when you're just going through the shit, going through the ringer, if you can find some humor in whatever that situation is, that's gonna help me personally. I know it's, you know, others feel the same way. So there's always a silver lining. So I guess if it's not humor, it's just a silver lining or whatever you want to call it.
Everyone's got that one thing that helps them get through.
Exactly. And well, not only that, just like in any situation, there's good and bad in everything. Not to get too metaphysical or whatever, but it's that whole yin yang thing.
It's about balance.
Yeah, exactly. Balance. Thank you. That's a lot simpler than what I was saying.
For some reason, it was like Avatar: The Last Airbender is like, it's all about balance. You can be all of these great things, but if you can't find who you are and the balance and who you want to be, then life can be sometimes a bit overwhelming. And that's when you need that friend to like be like in that Lord of the Rings scene where he reaches in the water, pulls you out, and is like, hey, I'm here for you. I've got you.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to help you get through this kind of thing? You just need people in your life for those particular moments who, when you're not at your strongest, they literally just pick you up, throw you on their back, and be like, I got you. But hopefully you're not like me and Brock is drunk and you bang his head into a car, which I'm still sorry about.
It's all right. I'm pretty sure that's why I have a dent in my head. That's cool.
That dent was already there. I hope. I really genuinely hope, because I still feel awful about that. The main point is like you just can sometimes pick up your friends literally and metaphorically. It's like in your case, I've had to do both. Like when you've been. Well, I remember I carried you around Tacoma when you were drunk too, because you refused to walk in the general direction in which you wanted to. You wanted to walk closer to the more hood area of town, and being who we are, not a good idea when you're hammered. So I had to pick you up and carry you back to Ray's house because you refused to follow in the right direction. You eventually complained enough that I set you down, and then you start walking in that direction because you're just going to pick me back up again and take me over there. So it's like, I might as well just go with you. It's like, all right, I guess. I could complain about this.
The hood loves me, Brent. Do you
I
know what
can't
I am
confirm
saying?
nor deny that. It's like, I just know that the hood probably is not the best place for me. I'm one of the whitest people you would know.
It
It's
reminds me of our Portland trip.
oh, we made the wrong turn in Portland, and then it ended up being there was like a block party, and then literally the first thing I do is lock the door and then
Just
fucking
fucking
roll the
hide.
seat down. Just nope, and you're just there, just
No,
playing
I
your
thought
rap
it was
music. Just
hilarious. I started fucking with you. Remember, I started blasting Dr. Dre or some shit.
yeah. Whenever in a situation for humor, Brock decides to escalate. Even though I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. But before this podcast completely falls off the rails, we've been as serious as we can be. For those of you who made it 45 minutes in, we love and appreciate you. But is there anything else you would like to share from your personal side of things? I rambled on a long time.
Just, I mean, I can go a little more into my personal story. Like growing up, heavily bullied, not the greatest home life. And I had some refuges, like safe places. Like the dojo was definitely one for me growing up. And then it just goes back to identifying your support system and your healthy coping mechanisms, because there are certainly some definitely some unhealthy ones out there that you need to avoid. Ironically enough, my dad taught us those unhealthy coping mechanisms
The three
in episode
vices
1.
in the beginning, which you haven't checked out. You might as well.
Yeah, and I admittedly later on I took those traps as suggestions, but
I only took 2 of the 3.
Oh, you did?
I
Yeah.
never really got into gambling.
I didn't
I've
either.
never been
really.
any good at it, so I never messed with it.
Yeah,
I set
never
a
really
limit
got
and then
into
I'm done.
Yeah. Even to this day, if I go to a casino with some friends, like I'm real good at knowing when to walk away.
Because I'm a sore loser. For those of you who don't know, I'm a very, very sore loser. Just like if we ever have like a gaming session where me and Brock game and I lose, just know there will be an epic temper tantrum, and as there have been many a story. Adding on to that, but most people don't know, Brock, that you actually are a black belt in karate, which me I find kind of shocking. They probably just looking like, oh, this guy can't throw hands, but wait till he uses your nuts as a speed bag and then you're really regretting what just transpired.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll do an episode where I talk about times I actually had to defend myself, but there's been a few for sure. But no, just again, know your support systems, your self-care. Never neglect your self-care. I know it's easy to neglect, but getting into that routine is definitely something we all need to do. Whether it be car therapy or the gym or just taking a day to, I don't know, read your favorite book. Just having something that you can find comfort in and process whatever shit storm you're going through. That's definitely key.
And I'll have the links in the description below.
Yeah.
I'll just drop probably the national ones because me and Brock are in different areas, so certain states will have different codes for it. There are some places that offer free therapy. I went for the paid one because at the time I had a very, very high paying job. So I could afford to do these sorts of things. But therapy is great, and I cannot say enough great things about it. Do not believe you're above it or better than it. No matter how fantastic a human being you may be, we all struggle with something.
Yeah.
And just going out and getting that help to make you be the best person that you can be, you're just, by not doing it, you are robbing yourself of greatness.
And yeah, no, that's spot on.
Just try and strive to be the best person you can be. I don't really have anything else mature to add. So before I take this episode off the rails, is there one little token or one little nugget you would like to give the viewers before we say la vie for this particular episode?
Again, the biggest thing is get that help if you need it. And I mean, I need to get back into therapy, but I was in it for years. It's kind of like going to the gym for your mental health. I feel like
you're getting your mental reps in to get
yeah,
buff.
yeah.
It's something that's definitely worked for a lot of people. There's a couple of YouTubers out there who have used the gym for their best mental health stuff. And I know one of them is a huge name who I'd love to have on the show at some time. I know he is way huge in the stratosphere, but Jake Monroe is one of those people who
I know
he talked about his own mental struggles. Like the gym is like his sanctuary. It helps him be the best person he is. And dude's jacked, so like clearly he's put in the time and the effort and the work in order to just be his best himself. So
but that's my big takeaway. Just know your support system, know your self-care routine, and seek help if you feel like you need it. And there's always hope.
Oh yeah, we at Living with Humor are here for you. Your family and friends are here for you. Continue to stay strong. And normally this is the time where I would shamelessly self-promote. I got nothing for you today. I'm just going to leave this cue card up for you guys to check out at your own discretion. Focus on you. Get the help you deserve to be the best you that you can be. Thank you for checking out Living with Humor. I've been Brent.
I am your host, Brock Terrano.
And thank you for checking out Living